What happened in British colonies after the abolition of slavery? In 1833, slavery was abolished in all forms. However, in the British Empire, exploitation continued. In British Malaya, plantations still required a large labour force. However, owners weren't necessarily prepared to pay workers a fair wage, so they turned to a system of indentured labour. Under this system, workers would sign a contract with an employer, specifying a length of service, typically 3 to 5 years, on the promise of good wages and good living conditions. Under this system, thousands and thousands of people from southern India were transported to Malaya. However, this system was deeply unfair and cruel. Some people that signed the contracts couldn't read, or they couldn't read English. Others were forced to sign the contract. And some people were told that they were going to nearby Sri Lanka when actually they were getting shipped off much further away. And when they arrived in Malaya, conditions were harsh and cruel. Days were incredibly long. Workers weren't really allowed to leave the plantation, and they were isolated from the rest of society. Living conditions were poor, and their wage was incredibly small. To quote one paper in this field, the situation faced by these labourers were virtually indistinguishable from the slavery system, whereby they were settled and controlled like slaves. Every aspect of their lives were under the full control of the employers. The situation was similar in other parts of the world, and between 1834 and 1917, Britain took more than 1 million Indian indentured labourers to 19 British colonies. Unfortunately, this history isn't explored much in modern discourse. While we acknowledge the transatlantic slave trade and its abolition, seldom do we talk about what came after. For more on this story, listen to episode 9 of Satay, OK.